Today we will be learning how to manipulate the contrast to make your images pop. Contrast is the most important of all the design principles. Without contrast, the world's a pretty dull place. This technique will work in almost any photo editing program out there today. Today, however, I will be using Photoshop CS5. One of the first things you do when you open up a photo in Photoshop or your photo editing programs, you look at the contrast range. In this case, our contrast range is very compressed. It goes from here to here. This is 100% white. This is 100% black. And you notice that the range of this photo is kind of in between. So we don't have a real white and we don't have a real black. So one of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to use levels and we're going to adjust this so that we can get a good contrast range so that this becomes or approximates, it goes to approximate white, and this will approximate black or be the darkest area on this. And that's going to expand this range so that we do have a true light area and a true dark area. Remember, contrast is really necessary for us to have a photo that is interesting, a photo that pops. So let's start up here. I'm going to go to Image. I'm going to go to Adjustments. Notice there are 4 different ones. We have Brightness and Contrast. They adjust things overall. This is the coarsest adjustment of them all. We have Levels, which uses 3 different points. Curves, which uses 254 points. And Exposure, which adjusts the gamma and the different brightness levels. Today we're going to be using levels because most photo editing programs have a level adjustment. So I'm going to click on this. You can see our histogram here. This is our black one, and this is our white one. Now there are 2 ways to do this. I can do this manually by bringing this thing in like this and bringing my white in like this. And notice this one in the middle kind of moves around because that indicates the midpoint between these 2. I can further adjust the photo and some of the contrast by going ahead and actually darkening it by moving it to the light, moving your midpoint to the lighter areas, or lighten it and doing that. Even with this, you can see that this is kind of a white area here. This is kind of a black area here. So we've compressed this. We've made it so that it looks a little bit better. If we took a look at our histogram here, you can see that. Also notice that this thing looks like a comb, if you will, because by adjusting this way, we're actually taking information out of that photo. We're deleting, if I hit OK, I will be deleting that information from that photo. And once you do that, you cannot recover it. There is a way around, especially in Photoshop, and that's called non-destructive editing. And you do that in layers. You essentially create a layer adjustment. And in a layer, not the original, but a layer on top of the original, you are just making that adjustment, and that affects everything below that adjustment layer. But for the sake of illustration today, we're just going to go ahead and do it this way. One of the things I'm really looking for in here is that I want kind of a nice modeling. I want this to look nice and smooth. I want these shadows in here to be nice and smooth. I don't want any abrupt changes. And so this is starting to approximate that. Notice when I roll over here that I get these eyedroppers. And these eyedroppers, this one's for white. And so if I click here and say I want this to be my whitest area, it's going to move that to my whitest area. Notice what happened. Everything lightened up. And again, my black moved way over here. If I want this to be my blackest area, I'll click in here. And now that's almost a little bit too much. So what I'm going to say is I want to use my gray or my middle tone. I want to say, where would I think, what do I think will be the middle of that? I might be down in here. Let's see, not bad. Let's try up in here, forehead. Okay, now we're getting an image that has contrast, it has good definition. We have sharpened it because we have increased the contrast, and that gives us more edge definition. And this photo is a photo that is entirely interesting.